again, this prospect generator business provides a dynamic aspect and characteristic to Skyharbour that most other juniors do not have. We offer this exposure to not just our two main projects, but also to projects being advanced by partner companies. They're spending dollars in the ground as well as making cash and share payments to Skyharbour. We haven't had to raise a hard dollar since August of 2020 in a private placement. Not many other, I'd say, juniors or explorcos in the basin can say that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Next Big Rush. I am Fabi, and I am here with Jordan Trimble, CEO of Skyharbour Resources. This is no joke. I am 2 days from giving birth, and I called Jordan on the show, and I said, look, we need to get this out as soon as possible because I want people to understand the timeliness of where Skyharbour is right now. So it just couldn't wait. Okay. So it's one of those things where I want you to understand the potential of Skyharbour and what they're doing right now before possible really great results come out. And I say possible, knock on wood. I'm a shareholder. I'm a partner. I'm biased. But Jordan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate you taking the time. As I said before, we'll try to make this as quick as we can, just in case.
Just in case. So if I start making weird sounds and got it wrong, then you guys know what's up. But I'm only kidding. And listen, Skyharbour has been around, for quite a while, Jordan, and you guys have a real portfolio of different projects in the Athabasca Basin, a portfolio that, it would be the envy of any company that really wants to drive value, especially in the cycle and in where we're at right now with uranium. How have you guys come to the conclusion of keeping Russell Lake and Moore Lake to yourselves? I know it's in the east side of the basin. It's close to, Denison's projects and some of the projects that are actually no longer projects, but real mines. That's where the infrastructure is. What was the thought behind, okay, we're going to option some of these other projects, but these are the jewels of the crown?
Yeah, it's a great question. I get asked that quite a bit. I mean, as you know, we have 29 projects scattered all throughout the Athabasca Basin. That's a decade in the making, and continue to add claims and do property deals to bolster the portfolio. Typically, the projects that we've acquired recently fit into our prospect generator business, the exception being the Russell Lake project, which we have optioned from Rio Tinto, as we talked about in previous interviews. We can earn up to 100% of this project. Now, the exciting thing for us, as this is one of the co-flagship, more advanced stage exploration assets in our project portfolio, is we're nearly complete the initial 51% earn-in. So we've now, having just wrapping up this winter drill program, we'll have spent the necessary expenditures in the field to complete that initial 51%. So we've locked in the operatorship, the majority interest of the project, and then we have the option to continue earning in where we can go to a 70% stake, and then ultimately we can buy out 100% if we so choose, or lock in a joint venture with a Rio Tinto, one of the world's largest diversified mining companies. So, which is a very appealing option as well. They've been a large, loyal shareholder now for several years since we announced this option agreement. Good to have them with that kind of stamp of approval on a smaller company like Skyharbour. The project, Russell, which to answer your question, yes, this is one of the projects we've elected to focus in on over the last few years. There's a multitude of reasons as to why we've done that, starting one with the very strategic location and property size. It's very strategically located between the McArthur River mine to the north, the Key Lake Mill, one of only two operating mills in the eastern part of the Athabasca Basin, to the southwest. Again, the road that services the mine runs right up through the Russell Lake project. So it comes with mining infrastructure, road, power, as well as an exploration camp, which, again, we've talked about, brings our drilling costs down quite substantially. We're able to drill there and at the adjacent Moore Lake project for less than $350 Canadian all in a meter. So very, very relatively low-cost drilling in the Athabasca Basin. It's also a relatively shallow drilling. So yes, there is the sandstone cover, but the targets that we're drilling are between 350 and 450 meters. And then the adjacent project, Moore Lake, is even shallower, where the unconformity sits at about 250 to 280 meters. So there's the strategic location. It's relatively shallow drilling, but most importantly, the geological prospectivity at Russell Lake is immense. There's been sporadic exploration and drilling over a number of years, really over the last several decades by numerous operators. What was very intriguing to us is the fact that most of that historical work in drilling, they would carry out drill programs, they would carry out widely spaced drill fences and would basically test targets in specific conductive corridors by drilling drill holes, in fences hundreds of meters apart. And so really, there was very little systematic infill drilling to properly vector in on what we think could be multiple deposits at the project. So we're one of the first companies, really the first company to go in there and tighten up some of that spacing, but also test some new targets. In this 5,000 meter winter phase of drilling that we're just wrapping up, and assays are pending and will be out soon, we focused in on three main target areas at Russell. The first two, the M Zone extension and the Grayling East Zone, and then we tested a new target that had very little to no drilling that actually intersected the target conductor. And this target area is called the Fork Zone. It's close to the property boundary with Wheeler River. And as you mentioned, Wheeler River is adjacent to the west of Russell Lake, owned and operated by Denison Mines, where they're building what will likely be the next producing uranium mine, new uranium mine in the Athabasca Basin. These targets, in particular the Fork Zone, are right up against that property boundary, or very close to. And in fact, a lot of it is the extension of the uraniferous fertile conductors from the Wheeler River project onto Russell. Denison's been a large shareholder of Skyharbour for a number of years. Their president and CEO, Dave Cates, is on our board. So it's great to have this working relationship and strategic partnership with them. It's really helped us advance Russell in these early days. So this Fork Zone, we were able to successfully target the conductor at depth, which had not been done by previous operators, and very excited with what we're seeing there. Again, waiting on final assays, but no question, we will continue to focus at this new target in future drill programs. Now, just a segue into the summer months and the plans for the remainder of the year. So we are anticipating results again in the next few months from this recently completed 5,000 meter drill program, and very, very happy with what we're seeing. And we're fully funded and permitted to then commence another program starting this summer, which again will follow up on some of these zones, these mineralized zones at the Russell Lake project. We'll have the specific details out once we've announced results, but very, very happy with the progress we're making. Again, this is a relatively new core project in our project portfolio, and this is the second drill program that we've carried out on it, and we're making incredible headway. So very much looking forward to announcing results, and then following that, starting up a summer and fall drill program. Now, adjacent to Russell, our other co-flagship advanced stage exploration asset, which is the Moore Lake project, and shareholders are much more, say, familiar with Moore Lake, given that it's been in our project portfolio for a number of years. It's a project that we acquired from Denison back in 2016 and 2017. We did a fair bit of drilling on it, starting in 2017 right through to 2021. And we've intersected some notable high-grade drill results there. This project is the most advanced stage, and so it's, in addition to its strategic location, relatively shallow targets, good regional infrastructure, it's also the most advanced stage project in our project portfolio, and helps to differentiate Skyharbour from a lot of other exploration companies in that there is high-grade multi-percent zones of mineralization at the project. The best intercept that we drilled on the project was 21% U3O8 over 1.5 meters. That was within 6 meters of 6%. And then just a few years ago, in one of the last major drill programs that we carried out on the project, we intersected a high grade, the highest grade zone of mineralization in the underlying basement rocks, 6.8% U3O8 over 2 meters. So there's a great exploration upside potential in these underlying basement rocks at this main Maverick corridor, which is host to several high-grade zones of uranium, including the main Maverick zone and the East Maverick zone, which is a zone that we discovered in 2017. Discovery hole was about 9% U3O8 over 1.5 meters. And so that's open at depths in the underlying basement rocks. But the drilling that we just finished there, and this is a very exciting part of development and potential catalyst for us, is it was 3,000 meters in this winter drill program that we just completed. And it was very much focused on infill and resource expansion drilling. So we are expecting some numbers from this program, which will help us as well with the resource estimate at the project, and will also pave the way for additional drilling this summer. Much like at Russell, we are fully funded and permitted for additional drilling this summer at Moore Lake, and we'll continue co-advancing these two flagship projects in our project portfolio. So long-winded answer to the question, but those are the two main projects, the focus for us for a number of reasons, and we're expecting that both of these projects will deliver lots of value for our shareholders going forward.
Thank you, Jordan. So I hear you saying that, you've just drilled 5,000 at 5,000 meters at Russell Lake, and then another 3,000, I think you mentioned, at Moore Lake. It seems like the labs in the region are very busy because everybody is drilling out there in this winter. What would be a reasonable expectation for shareholders, regarding assay results? I know that nothing is ever quick enough when it comes to lab results, but what do you think would be appropriate, knowing the region and how many companies are out there drilling right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's, no question, there's a lot of drilling and the labs, as they have been the last few years, given the amount of exploration drilling that's been carried out in the basin are backed up. But, I'd expect, I don't want to give an exact number on it. It's kind of, you're at the whims of the lab a little bit, but, over the next, I'd say, few months going into, call it July, I expect we should have pretty much everything back, I would think, by then. And, typically you report these results in batches, right? And so, we'll have the 5,000 meters from Russell as well as the 3,000 meters from Moore, provide us ample news flow over the coming months. And then, like I said, we are planning at that point, once we have all the numbers back in hand, we will then commence the summer program, which will take us right into the fall months and provide us ample news flow right through the remainder of the year into the new year. So basically, you've got 15 to upwards of possibly even 18 to 20,000 meters of combined drilling planned at these two main projects. By far our largest single year drill campaign we've ever carried out, fully funded, and all the assays pending. We've only completed, call it, the first half of that, but still have assays pending, and then we'll finish the second half here later this year.
That's really exciting. But what about the other projects that you guys hold? I know you've been, doing deals, optioning them out, and doing JVs with various different companies. What kind of updates can people expect?
Yeah, so in addition to us being busy at our two main projects, you've got a number of our partner companies that have been quite active here since the beginning of the year, starting with our two joint venture partners over on the west side of the basin. So you've got URANIUM, again, strategic partner that we have there at the Preston project. They're the majority interest holder in the project and operator. They've embarked on a very comprehensive field program consisting of some geophysics, which they've wrapped up now, and then they are planning. What's interesting is a not a new, but a soil sampling, ground sampling program called an SGH sampling program, which basically looks for hydrocarbon anomalies associated with uranium mineralization. So it's a very kind of interesting technique and a new layer, a new source of data that can be used to hone in on discoveries. So that's going to take place here this summer. So excited for them to complete all that work, and we'll have news flow on that project, and we'll see what plans are on that project in 2025. Right beside them at the East Preston project, where we've got a minority interest in the operator Azincourt, has commenced a 1,500 meter drill program. We're expecting some results from that program as well in the coming weeks and coming months, and then we'll see what the plans are for later in the year. They've done a great job of advancing that project. And then as we work our way over to the eastern side of the basin, where we've got our other joint venture, Valor, now called Thunderbird, at the Hook Lake project, we are expecting some work there later this year and into the new year. And then we have our 4 option partners in Basin, URANIUM at Man Lake, Madero at Yurchison, and then the 2 that have just completed drill programs or are in the middle of multi-phase drill programs. So North Shore at our Falcon project, we are expecting results from them shortly as they completed an inaugural program, and they are planning to get right back to work at that project later this year. They've intersected, as they announced in a previous news release, elevated radioactivity, some very interesting structure and alteration, so making good headway at the Falcon project. And then adjacent to them is the South Falcon East project, currently under option to Tisdale. And they just completed the first phase of what will likely be a multi-phase program through the course of this year. And they've confirmed mineralization. We are waiting for the final assays there. So we are expecting some additional news flow from that, but we're also going to be seeing the second phase here likely commence soon. And again, this is the project that does host a small shallow resource. So they're looking to go in and expand that resource, as well as delineate and discover new zones of uranium mineralization along those fertile conductors. So a lot going on with the partners. We are in talks to option or JV out some of the other 100% owned properties. We've got a big inventory of land right now. We've done a great job cultivating that, incubating that, and we're in a good position to monetize that now. We've got our South Dufferin project, which is in the central southern part of the basin on trend of the Centennial deposit, a high-grade Centennial deposit. We're surrounded basically by Cameco, Orano, and NextGen. They've got basically all the claims surrounding the project. And it's a drill-ready, shallow target project that we're garnering a lot of interest on. I suspect we'll be able to get an option or JV agreement announced there. We've got a few other drill-ready projects, as well as some earlier stage projects, big swaths of land up in the northeastern portion of the Athabasca Basin. So a lot of inventory that we can look to option or JV out. I suspect as the uranium market picks up through this year, because we've seen this in the past, as the market really ramps up, that's when you typically do get a lot of interest from partner companies to option or JV out some of these projects, and I expect we'll see that here through the remainder of this year.
So you've been at the helm of this company for a good 10 plus years. I believe, if my math is right. I don't like to do math publicly because I always get it wrong, but I think that sounds about right. And you've seen companies come and go in the basin, and you've seen uranium be just absolutely hated, where nobody could even spell it or cared about it, to now much more accepted. You see dollars coming into the basin, etc. With your experience, and I think, with a lot of newcomers coming into uranium investing as a thesis, I think people are asking themselves, okay, why should I care about Skyharbour versus other companies that are popping up seemingly every month, that are coming into the Athabasca Basin, that have the next big project and, lots of potential, as everybody claims to have? How would you frame it, in a few words? of why Skyharbour is really special right now, knowing what you know about the uranium markets?
Yeah, well, I think, we'll start with, the main projects, right? That we're drilling and we're working on. They're discovery ready. They're not drill ready, they're discovery ready. And what I mean by that is any next drill hole has a legitimate chance of delivering a major new high-grade discovery or high-grade intercept. And you take Moore Lake, I mean, that goes without saying, given that there is high grade there. So that's another differentiating feature is you've got pounds in the ground at a couple of projects, Moore Lake, as well as the Fraser Lake Zone B deposit at the South Falcon East project. So, that most other exploration companies do not have direct exposure to, call it pounds in the ground, and then so discovery ready in that, any next hole could be that major new discovery. Russell Lake, let's just go back to Russell. I mean, again, this is a project that has widespread mineralization. It's on that main mine trend on the eastern side of the basin. It's a very strategic asset, obviously. So that project, we truly believe will, there's a lot of value to be unlocked there through the discovery process, and we think we're the right company to do that. So that's one. Two, again, this prospect generator business provides multiple irons in the fire, provides a dynamic aspect and characteristic to Skyharbour that most other juniors do not have, right? They're focused on one or two projects at most. We offer this exposure to not just our two main projects or our 100% owned projects, but also to projects being advanced by partner companies. They're spending dollars in the ground as well as making cash and share payments to Skyharbour. We haven't had to raise a hard dollar since August of 2020 in a private placement. Not many other, I'd say, juniors or explorcos in the basin can say that. We have obviously three larger strategic partners in Denison, Orano, and Rio. I don't think many other juniors and explorcos can say that. And I'd say also, if you look at the landscape of companies in the Athabasca, and yes, there are a number of new exploration companies that have come in, and look, they're working projects that are prospective. They obviously do offer that high grade discovery upside potential. But typically they're smaller than, call it a $30 or $40 million valuation. There aren't really that many companies that are in this $50 million to $500 million market cap range. There's just us and a few others. So I think that does uniquely position us, along with just a few other companies, to be attractive in terms of potential M&A down the road. New money that's coming into the sector that maybe does have some liquidity restraints. I mean, we're still a smaller cap company, so there are going to be larger institutional investors that aren't going to be able to buy shares of a Skyharbour or peer group companies of ours. But there are other funds that may be able to purchase shares and acquire a position, as we are not a micro cap company anymore. So I think there's a number of reasons why it's worth taking a look at Skyharbour, and I also think, and I want to emphasize though, that this uranium market is very much, I believe, in the early innings of a bull market. And we've talked offline about this, and this is going to benefit all the companies, not just Skyharbour, but all of the companies in the sector, including the smaller exploration companies. But I truly believe we're going to see this outperformance of the smaller and mid cap names as we advance and progress through this bull market and cycle. We saw that in the mid 2000s. We've seen that in pretty much every previous bull market. And so I think there is going to be a strong outperformance for the smaller cap names again. And so I think it's an interesting inflection point here and timing. And I think that, investors looking to get exposure to uranium and to high grade exploration and discovery upside potential, there still aren't that many companies, right? So, it's still not an overly saturated sector. We have seen more companies come into the space, but we're still a far cry away from the 500 plus listed uranium companies that we saw in '07, right? So, we're nowhere near that. And so I still think, again, these are all good indicators that we're not yet that far into, I think, what will be a much longer, more sustained bull market.
I agree. And I also like to remind people, you can have the best team going into the Athabasca Basin. If you expect the first drilling campaign to hit it out of the park and see, like world-class, multi-percentage uranium hits, then you're absolutely out of your mind. You have to, dampen your expectations a bit, because these discoveries are extremely difficult. The high grade makes, the ore body is usually quite compact in footprint, and so you can easily miss. The fact that you guys are, so far ahead in the game actually, puts you in a really, really great position. Jordan, thank you so much. Any last words? Where can people find out more about Skyharbour?
Yeah, so the best place is just go to our website, skyharbourltd.com. All of our contact information's on there. There's lots of additional details on the projects, all of our news, all of these interviews and media are on there. So please go to the website and feel free to reach out to myself or Nick Kultura, our IR manager, and we're happy to chat with anyone that's interested in talking about the company or uranium. And again, appreciate you having me on, and good luck in the next week here. A very exciting time, and we'll catch up afterwards.
Thank you very much. We'll definitely catch up afterwards, because I am eagerly awaiting results, lab results from you guys, and I'll be watching. I know I'll be busy, but I'll be watching for sure. So I'll chat to you very soon, Jordan. Take care.
Sounds good. Thank you.